Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when I see that Jemele Hill is returning to the mainstream media and she immediately falls back on the classic myth that got her there, while also getting her fired from damn near every job she's ever had. Imagine my surprise when I see Jemele Hill is falling back on the classic myth of mythical racism. And actually, what Jemele Hill is doing, it could be classified as actual racism. And I guess I should also make a correction here because Smelly Jemele, she's not returning to the mainstream media. She's working at TruTV, which is the equivalent of being on the local news in Gay, Georgia. Jemele, she's on the C Squad. She's like the 15th player on an NBA roster, the female version of Bronny James. Matter of fact, Bronny and Jemele do have a lot in common. They were both handed everything. The only difference is Bronny James, he has got a small glimmer of hope. There's a tiny light at the end of the success tunnel. There's a tiny light at the end of the tunnel for Jemele Hill too. Difference is, that light is coming from the bruised caboose of huge embarrassing failure as it rapidly heads down the tracks to destroy the final remnants of her pathetic media career. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you happen to stumble across this video, be sure to check out my main channel, Behind the Line. Search Behind the Line here on YouTube. Should be the first channel that comes up. Yesterday, Danica Patrick, she told her following of masculine, normal men that she voted for the first time in her life. I'm sure there will be many others like Danica Patrick in this election. People who have never voted before but are finally registering and going to the polls to stop the country from being taken over by the queen of incompetence, cackling Cam Harris. Being the smart, beautiful woman that she is, Danica Patrick, she voted for Donald Trump. Shocker, right? I mean, let's look at this logically for a second. On one side, we have a candidate who knows the difference between men and women. On the other side, we have the doofus duo who believes that men can be born women. The choice doesn't seem all that difficult. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell does Smelly Jemele have to do with Danica Patrick? That's a great question. For reasons unknown, the odorous wonder, she decided to inject her unwanted, heavily biased, rancid opinion into this discussion. Check it out for yourself. This is why people don't trust white women. Why aren't you on our side? Why aren't you pretending to be an oppressed victim like me, Smelly Jemele? What does Danica Patrick's race have to do with this? Also, how does Jemele Hill know that Danica Patrick is choosing to identify as a white woman? It's entirely possible that she's choosing to identify as Dan Patrick. But according to Smelly Jemele, white women can't be trusted because over half of them voted for the Trumper in 2016 and 2020. Now, I want to be sure you're understanding this correctly. What Jemele Hill is saying is, if you see a white woman on the street, run your ass in the opposite direction because there is a 50-50 chance she voted for the Trumper. Meaning, if you were to approach her asking her for money, she's likely to give you a few dollars instead of trying to take your wallet. Smelly Jemele, she was not finished demonizing 70% of the country. Next, she decided to attack white men. Check it out for yourself. Do you see the problem? Not only can white women not be trusted, the white man can't be trusted either! You know who I don't trust, Smelly? The media. Is it any wonder why Jemele Hill is a huge embarrassing failure? Just think about this. After years of begging, pleading for someone to give her another chance, Turner Sports, they decided to donate sympathy money to Jemele Hill and they bury her on TruTV. In another classic case of irony, I would be willing to bet those checks that Jemele is cashing, those checks are coming from the white man. She might not trust the white man, but she sure as hell trusts that his checks won't bounce. Over the last 3, maybe 4 years, Jemele Hill has been completely forgotten. She tweets, no one cares. She makes random media appearances on various media platforms, no one cares. She writes a memoir about her life as a fake victim, no one cares. Hell, Tim Walz, he has sold more tampons to men than Jemele Hill sold copies of her shitty book. After years of complete irrelevance, after years of embarrassing failure, after years of being a complete and total loser, Jemele Hill finally gets another job in the media. Now, she might be on the C squad, but at least she's part of the team. And what's the very first thing that she does? What is the first thing Smelly Jemele does to convince people to watch her latest turd? She alienates 70% of the population. She tells 70% of the population not to bother. I don't know when her show premieres on TruTV. Like the rest of the country, I don't give a fuck about Jemele Hill, so I didn't bother to look up the premiere date. But either way, I give Smelly Jemele 1 year. After 1 year, she will be fired. After 1 year, she will be unemployed again. They'll probably use low ratings as the excuse to fire Jemele Hill, and that would definitely be part of it, part of the reason, but the main reason is going to be Jemele Hill is absolutely insufferable. They will fire her because no one can stand to be around her. But give me your thoughts on this. Jemele Hill comes up with a brilliant marketing strategy for her new dump. In order to boost ratings, she decides to alienate 70% of the country. Is Jemele Hill once again destined for huge embarrassing failure? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys on the main channel.